Hello and welcome to this week's Devil in the Detail. I'm Paul Whiteside and I'm joined by the other Paul, the two Pauls, me and Paul Parkin. Rob's just holding a baby for a bit, so he'll be back in shortly, so his chair's empty at the moment. How are you doing, Paul? You okay, mate?
Yeah, very good, pal. Very good. Yeah, a little bit rough over the weekend, unfortunately, but the game certainly cheered me up. So that was something, and then we're nearly back to it again, aren't we? So it feels like quite a short week, really. I'm feeling quite good. The sun's out, so fingers crossed the weather can hold for us.
Well, I'll ask you how your week's been because Rob always says that. So how have you been getting on? Have you had a good week so far?
Yeah, like I say, it's been quite active, really. Quite a lot going on. A few bits, builders round, and been out for a day, and it's been a nice week actually. I'm a little bit more active than usual. But like I say, I was ill Sunday, really ill. I felt really bad, but like I say, watching the game certainly cheered me up a bit, and it's put me on a high for this week. Because I think, as we'll discuss this week, but the club as well, it's just been a great week. I think to be a Salford fan in many ways, despite the first team getting beat. So I've had a good week. How's yours been?
Yeah, all right, mate. It's just the same old for me with rugby and work at the moment. And my miss isn't so well at the moment, so I've just realised how much she actually does because I'm shattered. I've not had like tea for the last couple of nights. I've been taking a dog out, sorting the kids out, and you think, God, it's never ending. And I moan sometimes I come home from work. I've been at work all day, but I'm thinking I'd rather be at work than doing all the stuff she does. So I'm hoping she's better soon because it's doing me head in now. But no, I'm doing all right. So should we see what's on the show before Rob comes back in? So anyway, I think we've got a review, of the Wigan game. We've got a review of the women's game because they had a great win against Warrington. We'll be previewing the St Helens game on Friday. We've got the amateur report and life outside rugby league chat as well that I've done for you, and I think that's going to be about it, really, mate. So shall we start off with the review of the cup game, the league game against Wigan?
Happily, let's do it.
Yeah, well, it was a good game, decent day. Before the game, I don't know if you remember the band Star Sailor from the 90s. Well, their lead singer was on the pitch playing some tunes before the game, and that was quite an event. There wasn't many people in there who I don't think recognised him, but I certainly did, and I enjoyed that in the warm up. So that was a good start to the day. And Channel 4, they did some good coverage of it as well, didn't they? So yeah, but we didn't get the sort of the best start to the game, but we came back into it, didn't we, Paul?
Yeah, we did. I didn't realise it was the guy from Star Sailor, by the way. I could hear it. It was pretty loud, but I think it was probably echoing around the stadium, to be honest with you. It didn't look like there many there. No, the game itself, I before the game, and I said last week I was worried. I thought, our performances of late had been pretty poor. I was a little bit negative. I thought Wigan were flying at home. They're an unbelievable side. They rarely get beat, rarely struggle at home, do they? But full credit to the guys. I mean, we did get off to a slow start. And at that point, straight away, I was speaking to my brother at the time, and I just thought this could be a long afternoon. I just don't think I don't know. After everything I'd said the week before, sorry, my dog's just absolutely gone mad. After the week before, I just thought there's no way we're getting anything out of this. Sorry. He's mad. But yeah, no, the guys really stuck out. And after the first sort of, even the first 5 minutes, you could see there was something there in us. I think we had a bit of life in us. Their first try, their first two tries, I will say, I thought we were a bit lazy in defence. A couple of bad reads, let them through. And it looked easy when they scored. And, you know what I mean? It looked like there was just huge gaps. And that was a bit of a worry. But we stuck in there. We scored obviously King piled over for his try, but that second try we scored with Matty Costello was absolutely fantastic. If Saints had scored that, the commentary team would have been going through the roof about it. So that first half, it swung both ways, and I thought at half time, we were probably a little bit unlucky to be in the position we were in. But you could see there was more about us this week. I don't know what it was. There was just something there. And at half time, I thought if Wigan came out and scored first, we were going to be in trouble. But, the boys obviously come out and really give him a good go over.
Like you said there, that first Wigan try, I thought that Jai Field, that I couldn't believe how quick he was. I've seen him on the television this season, but he just seemed to have half a gap there, and he was through it. The amount of pace he's got is absolutely frightening. But yeah, like you said, we got back into the game 12 apiece, and I thought we were looking the better side, but a bit of a clock off before half time. Farrell went over, and then I think it was Smith. For me, it was poor defence, that, especially the Smith try. He bumped off Atkin, and I thought it was a bit of an injustice, really, going in 24-12, because I thought we'd had a real good share in the first half. But like you say, we had to score first in that second half, and we did. It was a Croft kick. Briley left it, and Gerrard went over. I'm pretty sure that's his first try for Salford, and he was absolutely delighted getting it.
It probably is. That passage of play there. It was great, by the way, to see Brodie controlling the game in the manner that he did. He's shown the quality that we know he's got. We spoke before the season that we're bringing over an NRL Grand Final winner. You don't play halfback at Melbourne if you haven't got anything about you. And he was outstanding the other day. But that kick, the way that Braley and Gerrard sort of, I don't know, it's telepathy.
Yeah.
Leave it, I've got this covered. Because usually, you've seen it in the past, we've all seen it, the wrong player picks it up, or he knocks on, or he's been offside or something. And Braley did really well to actually stay out of it, really well. Because, he could have put his foot on the dead ball line as he caught the ball or anything. But Alex Gerrard following up, he's a big lad and he gets through a ton of work. He really does. I'm really liking what I've seen from him. I think he's been an astute signing for us. But that was just a little bit of brilliance again. Individual class from Croft. And we seem to take control at that point. And I think we knocked Wigan a little bit. I'm going to kill that dog.
No, don't worry about it, mate. I've got one downstairs. Yeah, just going back to Croft, it was a different half-back partnership, wasn't it? With Mark Sneyd not playing. But Brodie Croft seemed to play a different game, didn't he? He seemed a lot more confident. He seemed to have the ball in his hands a lot more. He's poking his nose through. He looked dangerous, and you could tell Wigan were a bit hesitant with him, weren't they? They didn't quite know what to expect. And I'm not saying he bossed the show, but I thought his partnership with Ryan Briley worked really well. And just going back into that second half, I don't like moaning at referees and slagging up, but I thought a lot of 50-50 calls seemed to go against us. I think Brodie Croft got caught late after a kick. We didn't get a penalty for that, and it was play on. And I know we got an interception try from CO, but after that interception try, it levelled the game. There was a massive call, I thought. I think it was Croft and Williams put Briley through. Forward pass was given for that, and I think it was Liam Farrell who played at the ball on the last tackle, and the referee gave a turn or Wigan ball. So there was a few decisions there when it was sort of level pegging, where we could have got a foothold and we just couldn't quite get our noses in front.
Yeah, I thought on them calls, I thought a couple of them were correct. I do think I think there was a forward pass there. I think only slightly, but if it had gone the other way, if it had been against us, I'd have called for it. So the referee, I don't think he had a terrible game, to be honest. I thought normally we end up bagging a referee or saying something. He made a few bad calls, but overall, I think he controlled the game pretty well. But that Farrell one where Croft has kicked the ball, Farrell's definitely made a play for it. He definitely made a play, and it should have been back to one. I know Brodie, he was lucky really in a way because he kind of had a go at the ref, and other referees might have took a bit of action against him there. So he just needs to calm down. But them 50-50s, we don't seem to get them anyway. But we'd made our own look. We'd pushed Wigan into a corner in a place where they didn't want to be. I think we'd really surprised them, especially when you looked at the lineup. I think we were missing something like 9 regulars that or players that you consider should be in that team. And I know that Channel 4 I do like their commentary team, but they mentioned Wigan's 2 or 3 players they were missing. I mean, it's water off the ducks back to a club like Wigan. Their academy will cover that, no problem. So, just watching us through that game, we grew. We really did. And like you say, with Brodie there, taking control without Mark Sneyd being there and having a different partner, I think he just thought, this is my chance to shine. And he ran them ragged. He was tremendous with ball in hand and defensively as well, because again, they targeted our halfbacks. They ran at Atkin quite a lot and definitely Brodie Croft. But I think I remember when Kenny Seo intercepted and I scored, and I actually thought to myself, we're going to do this today. it's one of them days where that kind of thing has happened. Times in the past, he might have gone for that ball and knocked on, or the ball's gone over the top of him straight to their player. And then as the game went on, they started dropping the ball near our line, forcing it. At one point, they had like a 4-on-1 overlap, and they threw the ball out, and he just dropped it cold, and I just thought, this is it. We've got these. They're a bit rattled, and we look confident, and we're throwing the ball about, just getting abandoned, really. Some of the best rugby I've seen for a long time, the way we moved it. And there was a few real key individual performances as well, players that really stood up. I mean, Watkins again. Callum Watkins was out of this world. Back row, second game back, first game actually starting in what, a year basically. You wouldn't have known it. He looked like the Callum Watkins of international fame 5 years ago when he was, his pomp at Leeds. And hopefully, if he's getting back to that kind of level, it's like a new signing for us, because he was unbelievable. We've mentioned Alec Gerrard and Brodie Croft, superb performances. And I think our pack stood up really well, considering the players we had missing. And Wigan's pack is synonymous, just big and strong and aggressive, isn't it? And we held it in the middle, and it's a bit of magic from Jai Field and the odd run from Bevan French that caused us problems. Other than that, I think we controlled them really, really well. And it's sad the way it ended in a way, with Morgan trying that drop goal from that distance. Probably not the best idea, but maybe with a little bit more, I don't know, experience in the half back around there, we might have tried something else, perhaps. I don't know. But to land in Jai Field's hands, he just looked up and seen a gap. And once he's through, I don't think anybody in Super League was going to stop him. Heartbreaking, but at the same point, I was so proud of him. I don't take it as a negative in any way. I think that we can only look at positives from that, and hopefully it can be a building block. We had a really tough period. We've got a big game this week against another tough side, but get through this, play like that with a few bodies back. We're a dangerous team.
Yeah, certainly. I was going to mention that, Paul, about the 4-1 overlap. I mean, you stole my thunder, really. I'll just echo what you said. When I think there was another knock on from French, but that 4-1 overlap, I remember saying to my dad, I think it's going to be our day, because things like that happen in games. Remember the win at Edinburgh, the first win at Edinburgh in 2009. I think we got an interception try that day, and it's one of those Leeds drop loads of ball, and it takes that sometimes to get that win. And a 4-1, then it was easier to score, wasn't it? But there was another massive turning point in the game. So I think Brodie Croft went for a drop goal, didn't he? And it was frantic stuff. Games on a knife edge. The ball landed in Gerrard's hands. And somehow Wigan got the ball back, and the danger was gone. And I mean, they came flying at us then with 10 minutes to go. I think our defence, apart from the the Jai Field at the end, I think our defence in that sort of last 20 minutes, it was absolutely outstanding, the goal line defence. And as you say, Morgan Escudé goes for a dropout. Probably not the wisest move because he was a bit far out there. But, you try these things, don't you? Gareth O'Brien tried it against OKR, and he's a genius. So sometimes when it's level like that, you've got to try stuff, because it'd have gone to golden point extra time anyway, and then it would have been that. So I think, Jai Field, as we mentioned before, I mean, he's so quick, running at a tired defence. I think Briley had got a bit of a knock as well. He'd done his ribs in. So I think we can be proud of that effort. I think it gave everybody a boost, that result. People were disappointed we'd lost the game, but I think nobody expected that in the first place, did they really? So it was a bit of a moral victory for us, if you like.
I think, going back to what you said about the defence as well, it was heroic at times. Proper bodies on the line. These lads have just played. This is the third game in 11 days? Not even that, probably. I can't. No, 8 days it'll have been, won't it? Something I don't know. But they just kept going right to the last minute, and it took that last minute. I mean, the second half, we're going at half time, 24-12 down, and you do kind of fear the worst, especially after the period we've been through. And we stuck at it, and we really threatened them, and they were worried for a period there. But realistically, except we kept them scoreless for 39 minutes in that second half. Nobody does that at Wigan. Nobody does that. We outplayed them, we outscored them in the second half. We just looked a really, really good side. And it was great to see, the commentary team after the game, and then, things on social media, on Twitter and places like that from fans of other clubs who were, they were drawn into the game. It was fascinating. It could have gone either way. Before the game, I'll admit, and I dare say most people who tuned into Channel 4 and those in the ground thought that it was a foregone conclusion that Wigan were going to probably take us apart, really. And you look at, like I said before, you look to that team, and I think I counted 9 players, something like that, injured. No matter what goes on during that game as well, and you're thinking we've got no chance. We can't, we bring him lads in, Batsy Costello coming back from Newcastle, joining the team again. He's going straight in the team. You're thinking this is a guy that, obviously we think needs to improve, and he's out at Newcastle, and now he's going to play away at Wigan. And again, he had an outstanding game. And I think overall we've come out of it with great credit, and it's got to be a boost to the confidence to the players and the coaching staff that we were able to compete with Wigan for that 39 minutes. And I don't see a reason why we should stop. It's a style of play. Remember we said last week, I said that Paul Rowley said we knew we need to play a different way. We haven't got a pack big enough at the start of the season. He said that we need to learn to play a different way. And I said, well, where is it? Well, there it was. He answered my question straight away, because we threw the ball about there, and it wasn't just aimless though. It was worked at. You could see the moves were on, and I don't know whether Mark Sneed not being there trying to control it made a difference. I don't know. I'm not bagging Sneedy for it, but with Croft playing a different role, and Chris Atkin, he's a quicker player, isn't he? You've seen it when he's come on at acting half. He changes games up. He speeds it up a little bit. Whether that had an effect on that, or whether it's just something that we've been trying for a while, but not all them to the ball. Not had a chance to set platforms. And you don't know, like you say, when Alex Gerrard got that ball from that kick, anything could have happened. We'd have scored then. I think we'd have gone on and won that game. I really do, because we were well on top.
I think looking back at the game, I think we deserved something out of it. I think perhaps a draw would have been a fair result, but just looking at the stats, as Rob likes to do, I'm not a big stats man myself, but we'll go through them. The top tacklers were Gerrard with 40, Watkins with 35, Ackers with 44, King Bunnyaya with 32, and Danny Addy with 28. If we go on to the meter makers, Seo's got 183, but Watkins 138 and 35 tackles. I mean, the lad's never really played at second row. He's been out injured for such a long time. He's played a bit last week. He's come back in to a big game like that, and he just looked like an international second row. We've just signed from the NRL, and he's jumped straight into the team. He just looked quality, and if he's going to get better and better, and you've got, like you said, the injuries we've got, quite a lot of them have been out long term. You've got Harvey Levette there, who's going to slot in as well. So we can get some of these guys back. Surely we can do that. What we could do with now is some players coming back from injury and a couple of home games. But what do we get? We get St. Helens away, and they brought all their first team back. So it doesn't get any easier, Paul, does it?
No, I mean, just going on Callum Watkins there, every time he got the ball, he looked a threat. He the strength of him, he's got pace, but he's got a brain. He's got a rugby league brain. He knows the game. He's a clever player as well. And playing in the back row, running at them players, he's going to cause problems for people, because he's a big lad. You don't realise how big he is until you sort of stood near him. The other day was just, he kept getting his hand free, and you're thinking, just get on his shoulder. And with players back in that team playing off somebody like that, that'll make a massive difference for us. And we're right to single him out, I think, because, like you mentioned there, his meters going forward were tremendous, but also sticking in 30 odd tackles for a man who, if you're playing in the centre, you're not doing that many generally. So it's a big impact on his body after the time out and everything. And when you look at the players like Tim Laffey, who's been excellent at making meters for us this year and making breaks, and Cal Watkins in that team as well, that sets me up really well. I think if we can get these players back in the team, I'm really confident that we can achieve what we wanted to achieve. We've just been so unlucky. I mean, the likes of Greenwood being out and Lannon being out in the back row, Harvey Levette being long term. He seems to be all concentrating in the same positions, and then even in the centres then, because we've had no Cal Watkins for most of the time. Tim Laffey's out, Dan Sargenson's out. Your centres are decimated. So we're putting players in it, and they've done really well. Dion Cross again the other day. played really well. Looks like a threat. So, you're losing so many players, and yet performing at that level. I'm really confident we get a couple back in the next few weeks. I know we get time to rest a little bit now, don't we? As well after this, we got the cup games.
Yeah.
We're not involved, and I think there's an international coming up at some point where quite a lot of lads will get another rest, and it'll give us another week to get players back. And if we can get them back in time for the back end of this season or the second half of the season, we've still got a great chance of moving up that table, because teams will go through what we've been through. They'll get injuries. They'll find that it's not as rosy. I don't care. I've lost a couple of players, even though they're on a great run. Wakefield are obviously in a bit of a rut after beating us, and then since then I don't think they won a game. Every team will go through that, and we're getting through it now. And if we can get them back, we'll be a threat towards the back end of the season. Playing like that, we've got to stick to that and build from it.
I think another thing as well, Paul, we're going to have a lot of home games, aren't we, at the back end of the season. If you look at the moment after this Friday, you'll have played Wigan away, St Helens away, Castleford away, Hull away, Warrington away. There's some big sides then away from home. So you've got obviously still got to go to Leeds and places like that, but there's going to be a lot of home games coming up. So you can start to build that run. So that could be us. Get on a roll at the back end of the season at the right time and hopefully push for that playoff spot.
Yeah, I mean, massive games. I mean, we played Huddersfield away as well, haven't we? But
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Wakefield have got to come to us yet. We've got to go away to Toulouse, which is going to be a massive task. But it's a game that we've got to identify as winnable. We've got there are plenty of games left in this season for us yet. And like you've just said there, I mean, I feel so sorry for Paul King and Bleasy and everybody else at the club, because it doesn't matter what you do. You're not bringing any revenue in. They know what we need, where we need to strengthen, what we need to do. But we've had, 4 home games this year or something? 2 against 2 teams who brought absolutely no fans. And we're stuck with injuries. It's just been, I mean, I even looked this week, and, I know we'll talk about it later, but with Saints this week, I can't understand why they dropped all the players last week. To bring them back this week to play a semi-final the week after. You think they'd leave them out this week, and yet they're bringing everybody back for us. I don't know. Is there a conspiracy? Is there something? I don't know. And
I think that could have something to do with the fact that they've won 38 consecutive home games against us, and the run now is over 42 years. So the chairman might have said, we don't want Salford beating us and ending that 42-year run, because it did seem strange to me that, but perhaps it was because they played the 2 Easter games and they wanted to give them that third game after Easter's the big one where they could have picked injuries, but possibly could have been that. Because I was thinking to myself, if they rest players again against us, for 2 weeks running, you're going into a semi-final then a bit rusty, really. You've not played for a few weeks, so you want to be battle hardened, particularly for Wigan. That's going to be one hell of a game. I mean, if I was a betting man, I'd back St Helens all day long, because I think there's flaws in that Wigan team, but. Should be 2 cracking semi-finals. But should we have a look at the 3-word match reports, mate?
Yeah.
There's absolutely loads of them. I'm just trying to vet them then when you were talking to make sure there's no swear words. So I've not seen any. So if I get caught out now by somebody, I'll be in trouble off Rob. Arthur Bollard said, great effort, unrewarded. Man of the match was Croft. You said, Paul, done us proud. Man of the match, Andy Ackers. Louise Woodward-Style said Brodie was brilliant today also. Royster 316 said, didn't Bevan Prench score a similar try against us last year, or am I mistaken? I'm sure that's more than 3 words, that, mate. But he's not come up with a man of the match. I'm not sure, did he score a similar try last year against us, Bevan Prench? Can't remember now.
I thought it was close. I don't know.
It was a 1-point game against it was at home, wasn't it? It was Captain Nason's drop goal, wasn't it? So they meant at their ground.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll have to have a think about that one. A year's a long time in my life and yours. Eric Rawson said, much improved display. His man of the match was Brodie Croft. James Oscarson says, very big improvement, Ackers. Matt Carr, effort, endeavour, excellence, Ackers. Very good, that, Matt. Clarkey said, fantastic performance, boys. Man of the match was Croft. Christopher Sloan, played the percentages. Man of the match, Croft. Ricky P, impressed on television. Man of the match, Croft. John Waite, good for neutrals. Man of the match, Croft. There's a bit of a theme. Are you totting all these up, Paul, or what? Because Brodie Croft's getting a few here. Stuart Smart, huge improvement. Man of the match, Ackers and Gerrard. Adam Wilde, effort for days. Man of the match, Watkins. Royster, 316. He's already done one, him. Thought he had a belter at second row. I presume he means Callum Watkins. Great second half, King V. That's Phil Rogers. Natalie Taylor, great team performance, man of the match, Croft. Paul Hume, a determined effort, man of the match, Watkins. Richard Morton, much improved effort, Croft. Who's this one? Harvey, 9908. Heartbreaking end, man of the match, Croft. I'd agree with that. It was a heartbreaking end. We've had a few of them, though, haven't we, against sort of Wigan and St Helens. If you think back to the Matty Smith drop goal a few years ago, it's cruel on the supporters as well as the players, because you go to some of these grounds and we very, very rarely win at those grounds. And yet sometimes we put in some fantastic displays. And rugby league, I said it in match sports, it can be a cruel game, can't it? You can put 100% effort in and yet come away with nothing.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I thought at the end of the game, people were saying, oh, gutted, this, that, and the other. I understand, obviously, we're gutted, we didn't win the game, but I couldn't be upset with it. I couldn't feel bad about it. There was nothing. I was very positive after the game. I was up, and you're not usually like that after defeat. Usually tearing your hair out or whatever. Where did it go wrong? It went wrong on one incident at the end of the game, and that was it. That was the difference, and that's what you sign these key players for, these big players. That's why we're going to have got the big money, big players. We unfortunately are not at that level. I'm sure Paul Rowley would be the first to admit it. We've got really good players, big hearts, lots of skill, good players, but some teams just have an X factor, and that's what wins your games, and that's what gets you to grand finals. And but like you said about Saints, the Matty Smith game, and there was a game at St Helens the other year where on Sky where I think we probably got cheated out of the game, to be fair, but we do get close at these places sometimes. You think, oh, all that effort, but at the same point, you've got to look at the opposition and think, we've done ourselves proud there. So yeah, as much as everybody was disappointed that we didn't get the points before the game, I didn't expect any. But as the game went on, I thought we could do this, and in the end, just one bit of magic from one key player, and that's the difference. And that's what you're going to find. If we played like that every week, we'd win a lot more than we'd lose.
That's all you can ask, Paul. I think that's what the supporters are looking for, in particular, as you mentioned before, them 2 home games coming up. We can play like that, we're going to get some points. Carrying on with these match reports, there's another one here from OSF. I don't think I've read him out yet. Massive improvement, man of the match, Croft. Mark said, a fantastic effort, Croft. David Deakin, so very close, man of the match, Croft. Just. So he must have been had a few in mind. I think you could have picked a few there. Steve Bennett, great team effort, man of the match, Croft. Kenny Odd, inspiring commitment, unlucky. KDL said Brodie Croft 7 all day, every day. Colin Wilson, proud of him, man of the match, Croft. Dave Parker, massive step forward, man of the match, Watkins all day long. Ernie Fathead, nearly very Reds, man of the match, Croft again. Michael Sugden said nip and tuck. Chris Fisher, massive improvement today, man of the match, Croft. Mike said timing just off, Croft. I don't know. Yeah, timing off, maybe. I don't know. Sean Turner, can't beat pace. Drew says stop Jai Field. Yeah, I think you're right there. As we've said, he's a class player. Speg said still got beat. Yeah, we still got beat, but I think, like you said, you can take a bit of art from that. Kenny Odd said not a mention of Ackers. Well, a few people have mentioned Andy Ackers. I thought Andy Ackers did well. I thought he tackled well. I thought sometimes he was a bit indecisive at the play of the ball, but you can't fault his commitment and his effort. I think he puts it in every week, doesn't he? He's up there. I think he was top tackler in the match, 44 tackles. But for me, I think Brodie Croft, he stood out, didn't he? I've not watched it back on the television yet, but I'm pretty sure they would have mentioned him on the television because he did stand out. He gave Wigan problems all day long. They struggled to deal with him, and they had a quality defensive side as well. I think barring St Helens, they've got the best defence in the Super League, haven't they?
Yeah. I think I went with Ackers mainly off that. I think the first half, he was the one that really stood out for me for Salford. He made things happen from acting half. He was dangerous, made good runs. He was following everything up. I think Brodie grew into the game in the second half. He was excellent, Brodie Croft. He tore him apart at times. But again, surprised it probably wasn't more for Watkins because his all-round game was just unbelievable. But you could pick many, and there's players out there who don't get mentions, who are doing lots of dirty work. The stuff you don't see. Again, I'm going to mention him, and I mention him every week. Elijah Taylor, the guy again went through hell for us. You could see he was knackered, and then obviously he gets that knock, and that takes him out of the game, takes him out this week. But again, the work he gets through it's unbelievable. When you watch it, if you get to watch it back, he covers so much ground, and yet he's like a forgotten man. You forget he's there. He just next minute he's cropped up in another tackle, and I'm sure if he'd have spent more time on the pitch, he'd have probably got a bit more credit for it. But all the team really stood up, and we used the bench really well as well. I thought the rotation of players, we seem to be a lot fresher this week. I think the last few weeks we brought subs on and they've not had an impact as you'd like. And I think this week we did. I think we used them really well. But we just looked fresh. We looked, and we looked up for it, and there was a spark about us. So any of the players could have got a man of the match, but from that, reading what the names that have come out, obviously Croft, Ackers and Watkins were the three that really stood out for us. But full credit to the full team, because they deserved it, and Paul Rowley for his tactics, because we like I said so many times, we give them so many problems that I don't think they were expecting. They played us a few weeks ago in the cup, nailed us. We didn't even look like scoring, did we? We could have played till for another week and wouldn't have crashed over. This week, every time we got the ball, we looked dangerous. We looked like we were causing threats, especially out wide. We didn't take them on up the middle as much, and we took on their 3/4, and that's a decent 3/4 line they've got. We moved the ball about. We moved them across the pitch, and I think that's what you've got to do with Wigan. Got such a big pack that if you run them, they're gonna wear out, and I think we did that to a few, and we kept some of their bigger props a little bit quieter, because I think we tired them out a bit. But all round, what just tremendous effort from everyone, 1 to 17, and like you say, a lot to build on from that now.
It's going to be a tough. It's going to be tough this week as well with the players that we've lost. We mentioned before, didn't we, the fact that we've got a lot of people on the sideline. Paul Rowley in the interview was mentioned about Arthur Salary Cap being on the bench. This week we're going to be missing Ryan Brierley. He looked in a real bad way when I saw him walking out after the match, holding his ribs. We had to get the door for him and the steward to get him out of the ground. He could hardly move. So I don't know whether he's broken him or bruised him or whatever, but he's going to be out for a few weeks anyway. Elijah Taylor is going to have to be out for 11 days because of the protocol for the head assessment. So it's going to be tough going there. So Rob's back with us now. Rob, I was just going to throw over to for the interview with Paul Rowley, but have you got anything to add on the Wigan game just while we wrap it up? Or
yeah, worked hard, didn't they? Obviously, last minute Wigan try breaks hearts, but we were in the contest, so you got to take positives out of that. That we were, competing, and it was a really 50-50 kind of game. But unfortunately, like you say, JR Fields, showing the class, and unfortunately, you got to get back up. You got to get back off the canvas, haven't you, and go again, because obviously these last kind of 4 games have all been tough, so they don't get any tougher than Saints on Friday, do they?
No, they certainly don't. I'll let you answer that one, Paul.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've got to play them at some point. Like I was saying before, and Rob, you'll probably laugh, but is there a conspiracy? I don't know. Someone's put the boot in there, haven't they? Given us Wigan, Warrington, Catalan, Saints in a row. Well, been like, but that's the away. We've only got one of them at home. This does seem at this time of the season that's a rough patch to go through. And we certainly don't deserve it. With the bodies we've got missing, yeah, that's a real struggle for us. But like I said, we get some bodies back towards the back end of the season, quite a few home games that it can turn around for us. But we've got to play everybody at some point. We went to Wigan, and as I said, I didn't expect us to get anything. I came away like a proud dad in many ways. I was absolutely buzzing by it. I didn't feel negative at all. There was no, we lost in the last minute. It took him 39 minutes in that second half to get over the line. That's a lot against Wigan. And this week, Saints never going to get any easier. Like we say, they'll be fresh and ready. But couple of players will be playing for places in semi-finals. We've got to go there and just, we put that same effort in. Doesn't matter to me in many ways what the scoreline is going to be. Nobody in rugby league's giving us a chance to go to Saints and win. So, let's go there with that same attitude we went with. I know we've lost another couple of bodies, but let's just challenge them and then build off that. And then the weeks to come, we get a few players back, a few home games against teams we can beat. It's a different season for us.
So, Paul, have we spoken to Paul Rowley yet?
No, we haven't. Should we speak to Paul Rowley?
Yeah, I think we'll speak to him now. So that was you, Paul, talking to Paul Rowley after the game. And
Right, Paul Rowley joins me. It's been a real tough Easter for Salford. You must be showing so much pride today. I mean, it's heart-wrenching to get beat like that, but what an effort from your side.
I'm always proud, and I've said this before, I'm proud because of what they do in the week. Today's just a culmination of hard work and commitment, what they do day in, day out, so all pre-season. Proud in defeat, yeah, I'll take that, but you're never happy in defeat, because that's not what we're about.
Quite a few 50-50 calls went against you today, I thought. Anyway, I want you to talk about them as a forward pass, I think, in that second half. They must hurt you, though, as a coach.
Yeah,
I mean, the players, I think they deserve something.
The restart is when Farrell's clearly blocks a kick, we don't get it. Second set on their line, I'm pretty confident there because we've been good with the ball. So that's hurt us, that one. But if we get that, if the other goes, it'd be interesting to see what happened if we get that call. So I'm not sure about that.
I mean, like you were saying in the press conference, a lot of your salary caps in the stand. Mark Sneed on there may have dropped that goal. It was a long way out from Porcanesque, wasn't it? But Callum Watkins, do you see him as a second rower, or is that just selection issue? Because I think he's been doing really well in that position.
Yeah, I muted it with Callum probably 2 months ago, to be fair. So it's been in his head, and as he's been coming back to training.
Has he bulked up because he looks a bigger player?
No, he's
just
always been a big lad.
Anyway,
I think when you've got a squad that's doing it tough and, like you say, your salary cap's sat down, when you bring an international player back in the fold, that's what you see. And if you look at all the games, NRL, Super League, ultimately now, they're athletes and they're big, so and they grind you down and make no errors, and it's a slow death, and that's how they play. Huddersfield do it, Saints do it. So when you bring an international player like Callum back, he stands out like a sore thumb.
I think massive credit today to Ryan Brierley, Brody Croft, Chris Atkin as well. You had a different half-back partnership, but you look so dangerous. That must, that's exciting going forward for the supporters, because you've come here and really troubled a good Wigan side who were a good defending team.
Yeah, I think, as you say, I think Ryan and Brody in particular were very, very good. So disappointed for them, and you see when you see your players put so much in and not get the rewards that probably they deserve, it's hard to take and hard to see. So I won't be beating them with a stick anyway this week, but we're real, we're true, we won't waver, we're nowhere near cracking. But we've got a tough challenge now going to Saints with a really busted team, to be fair.
Battered and bruised today. There's probably going to be players who've played today we're going to be missing next week. Elijah Taylor, you said, won't be in next week.
Yeah, he's definitely out. Probably Briley's out. None of the others will return. So Have you got any boots on yourself, Paul?
Yeah, well, and I went gym this morning, but only in sauna, so I don't think that qualifies me. How's this week going to be for the players? Will it be rest and recovery this week? You're not going to get a lot of training, are you?
Can't do anything. It's harsh, crazy really, but it's not good, and these periods can really dismantle a season. I know we saw a spectacle there, really, really good. Everybody probably really enjoyed the game, but don't make it right. So, but it is what it is. We've got a good group. We won't whinge. We'll just rock up and get on with it. But promise that you'd never see lack of effort, and I don't think you've seen it yet ever from this group.
It's another away game as well, so surely we've got some home games coming at the back end of the season, because we seem to be away every week, don't we?
Oh, unbelievable. 4 home games, 2 against French. Like, somebody's having a laugh. No, we can do with a bit of resource. You ask me weekly, we're bringing players in, but you need a few home games to get some money in the coffers for that. So everyone at the club's working really hard, and we just get on with it.
Fantastic effort today, Paul. Best of luck against Saints, mate.
Cheers.
Obviously defeat, but was he happy with what was served up?
I don't think, I don't think he's ever happy, because I think he's a perfectionist, isn't he, Paul? I think he wants to win everything, and he said that. He's been like Watto, what was the same, wanting Richard Marshall. They all want to win everything. But I think in a way, like Parky said there, it's a bit of a strange one, but yeah, like a proud dad, I was a bit like that. My lad's just done really well there, and I think we all came away like that. I mean, I took our Imogen and my dad in the van, and we drove home. We stopped off and had a brew on the way home, and sort of sat outside in the sunshine, and we were laughing and joking, and as if we'd won the game. So it was sort of heartwarming the way that they played, because we didn't expect it. Sometimes, even though you don't win the game, you sort of cheered up by the performance. And for me, it was a performance and I spoke to quite a few people in the week leading up to the game, and everybody said the same thing to me. I want to see a performance. And we did. We saw a performance, and that's all you can ask for as a supporter. I don't expect Salford to beat everybody every week, because we're not St Helens. We've not got that endless amount of money. I expect, though, a performance every week of 100% effort. And if I get that, I'm happy as Larry. So I was really happy with it. And, we'll look at the squad this week. If we can go to St Helens and give 100%, we might not be able to beat St Helens, but I'd be more than happy with that again this week, mate.
Yeah, I think it's bouncing sort of back in it, Parky. Obviously, you've 4 tough games in sort of over the last sort of 4 weeks, isn't it? So it's how they finish against Saints, really. How much of the, how much juice they've been took out the tank in the last sort of 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think what they've got to look at is they get a week off. So let's put it all in for this one, and basically the best part of a fortnight, isn't it, before the next game?
Yeah.
We've got just this last mountain to climb now. That's it, and then we're through this horrible period we've had. We get a week off, we can recuperate, hopefully get a couple of players back, and like I say, build on for the season. But listening to Rolls, again, like we've said in the past, he's not someone who gets overexcited about things and doesn't go over the top when we get beat. He's quite a steady Eddie, if you like. But listening to him, you could see, I think he said something in his interview about, it may have been on Channel 4 or on BBC, that we can walk out there with our heads held high. And that's a massive thing. I think the fans did the same thing. We walked out that ground, and you're thinking, yeah, we mixed it with these today. And the Wigan fans, walking past, going the other way, we were in a game there. It's not the usual, we just battered Salford, so what? And like Paul said, that effort, that 100% commitment to the cause on Sunday it's what we want to see. We don't ask much. We're not, like you say, we'd love it the other way. We'd love to be like Saints or Wigan in the Pomp, or, Leeds have been in the past, Bradford and teams like that, where they've just dominated. We'd love to have that. We haven't got it. We know we haven't. But we just want that little bit of commitment. That maybe, I don't know, maybe I was harsh, but I don't think we've seen in a couple of games this season. I don't think we've seen 100% from everybody. But on Sunday, it was all there, wasn't it? We can't fault them one bit, and it's just a shame that we have lost more bodies rather than getting more back for this week. But just totally proud of them. And
just before we start talking about the news, Parker, we'll talk about the ladies and their first league win against Warrington Lunars. They beat Warrington Lunars 26 points to 22. Fantastic result for Chris Bates' ladies.
Magnificent! What an effort! They really stuck it in. It was a tough battle. I know the girls were. They must be so proud of themselves. It's a magnificent result. You've gone away from home, Warrington. What I've seen of that game, what I will say is we were harshly dealt with in some officiating. About it seemed that we were getting punished for things that they didn't. That was difficult to overcome, because especially in that, there was periods in the game where it seemed like it was just all on our line. Everything we were doing, all the defending or driving it out from our line. But the girls stayed calm and worked really hard in a tough battle, and that's kicked off the season really, really well. I know we're flying in that cup, but this, it's the league. That's your bread and butter. And again, just to be so proud of them and the effort that's been put in there against a well-organised Warrington team as well. But I was really impressed again this week when I've watched it back. Some real key individual performances. The forwards had so much work to do. You know, they must be absolutely shattered again. But that's those extra efforts that, you know, when they say that they've gone in on a Monday to do extras after work, you know, to get that's the commitment you need, and that's why they get results. And just a brilliant start to the season.
Yeah, Warrington opened the scoring, and then Lucy McKeown scored. Lovely little run round by Jones and Bradshaw, sending McKeown over for the score. And then our debut centre, Alex Simpson, Great Britain Teachers centre, Parky went over and scored after a lovely run around as well. And we were leading 10-6 going into half time.
Yeah, we were, and the tries we scored, by the way, were well worked. We had to work hard for them, but we just had a little bit more, I don't know, a bit quality.
Yeah,
I think it is out wide. I mean, Lucy McKeown, we spoke about it. I don't know how many times she just scores tries for fun. She makes it look easy, and it definitely wasn't. And again, like I said, just that little bit of quality out wide was a real threat. I know that's just in the first half. In the second half, we had a try disallowed, which by all means was a try. I don't know why, but again, that was out wide. It was, you know, we peppered them through the middle of forwards, worked, and then let the ball do the work. You know, it's just a simple tactics, really. But when you've got them players on the park, you use them, and you know, we've got pace and power, and it's a great mix, and we just look a real good unit.
Yeah, we do. Demi Jones was at it again at the beginning of the second half. Spiral bomb, chaos in the Warrington defence, and Lucy McKeown scooped up the ball and dived over to make it 16-6. Warrington hit back with a try to make it 12-16, but then we scored the try of the game, in my opinion. Louise Fellingham, Steph Gray, and combined to send Lauren Ellison over for a try. She took a couple of defenders over with her. Great bit of rugby football there, Parker. And it shows that these girls, when they see a chance, they take it.
Yeah, very much so. Well, that's the thing, because it wasn't a game of like chances like that. It was a real arm wrestle at times. Like I said before, we spent a lot of it in our own half or on our own line, just trying to grind it out and get up the park. And then when you get that opportunity, you've got to take them. We've seen it a lot with the men's team this year, where we've created loads and or had loads of ball and not done it, not go over the line. The girls have that. They have that extra, that X factor, whatever it is, to crash over. And it doesn't matter how you score, obviously, just scoring, but they always have a bit of a flurry. There's always something about them. But no, a magnificent effort again. And some of the girls there, like I said, it must have been absolutely shattered, because it was hard work. It really was. It was. It could have gone either way. And Warrington are a good team. They were well organised as well. And I don't know whether it comes down to coaching or individual efforts or what, but we just had enough to get past them. But it's a great start.
Yeah, obviously, Lucy McKeown and Steph Gray got all the headlines, Parky. But I think the other winger, Lauren Ellison, she is prolific, really. She scored, let's have a look at this. I've got the stats here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in 7, I think it is, Parker. So, you know, in any other team, when I think Lucy McKeown scored something like 12 in 5 or something like that. So, but any other team, you'd be calling that out as being, sharpshooterish. But obviously, it's going under the radar, really, for me, that.
Well, isn't it a great sign that you've got wingers on both sides scoring tries? And we're not, we look at the men's team, the first team, and it's, we know Kenny Seo scores every single week. On the other side, we probably don't score as many as we should. Do we play to one side or something like that? The girls seem to have maybe a better setup in that way. Or do you just use the ball better to create that space for the wingers? But to have pace and, a threat out wide in any team is great. To have two, it's a real threat. And this is the thing now that other teams are going to look at. They're going to watch us. They're going to see, which side do you defend? Who do you put where? Do you have a strong defender on one wing Do you have to switch them to cover one? You can't do it. And again, even from fullback, we have, every time our fullback comes into the line, it's chaos. There's a bit of pace, a bit of, you know what I mean? There's a spark there. So yeah, no, it's just great to have, try scoring wingers, but also that work rate through the middle that creates the space. It's then lets the flair players, if you like, really build, and then you get your wingers who get the headlines, don't they?
Yeah, Ellison's got 6 in 6, and McKeon's got 13 in 6. So they're just razor sharp for me. You give them ball, they'll score. There's no danger there. Why you hit back though, 2 tries on the spin. Like you said, Parker, I think that period of the game there, they were getting pinged all over, weren't they? But for me, tell you, defended like lions, didn't they? Didn't take a backward step at all. It was like the Alamo at one point. There was about 4 sets on our line, bodies lying everywhere. Fortunately, like I say, Wire did manage to get over and made the scores 22-20 with about, I think it might have been 6 minutes to go. But sign of a good side that they can pick themselves up from there, and go on and win.
Well, the attitude was spot on because they didn't lose it. I mean, I was losing it watching it. Regarding the referee pinging us for things that I don't mind referees making mistakes. I don't want to bag them all the time, but you've got to make them for both sides. And it seems to be happening. It seemed that I don't know. Sometimes I've seen it amateur before where one team's absolutely battering the other. That's not the case in this game, but the referee thinks I'll be a bit more lenient on them. It's not fair, sort of thing. We'll give them a bit. And it seemed that way. I mean, Warrington were offside quite a lot, and he did us a few times for that, and a few silly little things. And eventually, you are going to break with all that pressure. But they kept him out for so long, it was going to happen. And in a tight game, that's you don't need, the referee doesn't need to get involved like that, because both teams were really impressive, and it was fairly free flowing at times. But then he just wanted to get involved. I don't know what it was about, and we just couldn't get away from our line. And I think to be fair, I think we needed Warrington to score to break that. You know what I mean? Because it could have carried on for a long time.
Yeah.
And once they scored, then we got a chance to get back up and into their half. Other than that, really struggling, but the effort was there. And this is why I'm saying, I know I've said it twice already, but it must have been shattered. Yeah. Because it didn't stop. Do you know what I mean? It was constant pressure. And then we just had that edge. Like I said to Paul before you came on about, Wigan and Jai Field. That's why you sign these players. A bit of something that get you to finals and I think we've got that in our team that proved that, Warrington didn't, an established team like them.
Yeah. So obviously, dying moments in the game, we trail by 2, turnover ball, set the move up. Wonderful pass by Jones, gave it to Louise Fellingham, who attacked the line, drop-off ball to Vicky Kinney, who burst the line, went over to score the winner. Cue joyous scenes behind the posts.
Yeah, well, it's we know Vicky, her other half, celebrated a try on the same day. So it's a good family double, if you like. But yeah, again, you mentioned Louise Fellingham there. What a player!
Yeah. What
a player. You can just see that difference that she's got. This isn't something new to her. This is what she does. You know what I mean? And the control, there was no panic.
Yeah.
We're behind. It's getting late in the game. Just do what you do. Go through your systems. Play the pattern that we've got. And we just, again, it's that edge. This is what I'm saying. That little bit of quality that we've got. She was just calm and just set it up. Let's set the play up. And when she crashed over, I mean, it was joyous scenes.
Yeah.
Me watching it, myself, I was giving it
about.
Brilliant. It's a great start, and build on it.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Packy. Obviously, both Demi Jones and Louise Fellingham ice cold as well. Because don't forget, with 2 minutes to go, it's all or nothing there. So for her to spot it, read it, and also for Vicky Kinney to come back on the inside and catch it and score as well, to like a crash ball to go over. We see many players go for that and lose the ball or drop the ball before they catch it or anything like that. So to have the technique to do it under intense pressure is big there for me. So, fantastic win for the ladies. I spoke to Chris Bates after the game, and this is what he had to say. So we're joined by Chris Bates. Welcome to the show, Chris. Congratulations on your first league win against Warrington Lunars. Talk us through it.
Yeah, thanks for having us again. It was a massive win for us, really. I don't know where to start. The game feels like a bit of a blur, to be honest with you. Once we've got the footage, I'll enjoy watching it back, I think. But we kind of played field position really well. They scored early through a bit of a lucky bounce. Piggybacked up the field on a couple of penalties, which was probably a bit of a story of the game. And came away with points early to go 6-0 up. And then we fought back for what really, to be honest with you, at half time felt like quite a commanding lead, albeit not that far apart in terms of points, but it felt like we controlled field position. It felt like it was in our gift, really. The only time that they really got upfield was either their pack ramping up for a couple of sets, led from the front by Serena, one of their props, and or we piggybacked them up on penalties or drop balls. And then the second half, we scored early, and that really felt like it cemented it. And then these things change quickly, don't they? So they scored a couple of tries, and then all of a sudden we're 22-20 with 5 or 6 minutes left, and Vicky came up with the goods to win it for us. So I'd said to you before that I was interested to see how we would manage a game, and if I'm honest, I don't think we quite managed the game. I think we made it tough for ourselves, certainly tougher than it needed to be with the amount of errors we made and the amount of penalties we gave away. And I think that's just something that, as a team, kind of 5 or 6 games into your existence, that you're going to have to learn at some point. But plenty to take from that. But I'm ultimately delighted that we showed the heart to find a way to win. I think we certainly did it tough, but delighted to see them do it that way.
Yeah, last time you won, you talked about sort of wanting to see how your ladies would react in a game like that. What did you learn from your team?
So I think I'll give you two sides. I think I'll give you what I learned and what we learned as a coaching team, and I think I'll give you what I hope they learned. So we learned that in that group we've got some real fight, and I think when you look at the way they've been training, I've given them tons of praise for really ripping in, and once again we had 8 players doing extras before training yesterday. So on the back of what was a really tough game, so that tells you everything about their heart. But I think we learned that they can take that into a game situation, and the difference there is that when you're getting through fitness in training, you're doing that as an individual. So okay, you're part of a team, and okay, the whole team's got to get through the drill. But if one kind of drops or shirks a little bit, it doesn't really matter. You still get out what you put in. But in a game situation, if one drops or shirks a little bit, then you lose the game. And as a group, they really pulled together, and they really showed a lot of heart to go and come off the back of what was probably a little bit of a controversial decision. I'll be straight with you. I'd have been fuming if we were kind of in that situation and we'd scored and we weren't given those points and the try wasn't awarded. But at the same time, there was kind of hints of a loose ball there. So, and the players were up in arms about it. So then when they came back together under the sticks, I was delighted that they managed to find the fight to go and the belief to get upfield, put themselves in a position to score and then execute. What I hope that the girls took from it is belief, really. And belief that actually, if you come together as a group and if you work together and you keep kind of sticking to our game plan and you keep kind of hanging on in there, that the opportunities come. And I really hope that next time we're in that situation that they react exactly the same way, but with perhaps a bit more belief that they're going to. I mean, you look at the epitome of that, and when I was a lad watching United grow up, then Fergie time was a real thing. So, that group always believed that a chance would come or that the game wasn't quite lost, and I hope that they take that as away from the situation they were in on Sunday.
Yeah. Obviously, you absorbed a lot of sort of pressure in defence, outstanding at times, a sliding defence. It kind of shows that your team can sort of deal under pressure, teams coming at them. We talk about gameplay intelligence. I thought there was crucial moments in that second half when Warrington were knocking on that door, but your ladies stood up and answered.
Yeah, so their try to bring them within 4 points came on the back of 5 sets on our line. With a variety of penalties, and then I think we got the ball and then turned it over early in the tackle count, and then they're attacking us again. I thought Lauren Ellison saved us a couple of times by jamming in, and we didn't have to slide out to go and they caught us on an overlap. And you've two ways to overcome that, haven't you? Your defensive line either slides out quickly and reacts and adjusts to make it, player on player, if you like, or your winger jams in and cuts the play out. And she did that at a couple of really, really crucial points, and fair play to her for that. I think overall, we ask the players, Matt Drinkwater's great with this. So if a player runs through the middle of us, that's an individual area. If a player gets round us, that's a system error. And we just didn't see any individual errors. I thought that they kept showing up time after time after time, and they were absolutely out of it. Really, they were really blowing, and they really had to dig deep to find some of those efforts to keep them out for the 18th, 19th, 20th tackle and on our own line. So yeah, delighted with the way they defended. The thing that we've got to look at is how we don't put ourselves in that position. So perhaps we've got to look and say, well, are we too expansive in our own half? I don't think so. It didn't jump to mind, but that's one reason to turn a load of ball over. Do we need to be a little bit better at how we react to a referee who, each ref will have their own line as to what's a high tackle and what's not. We gave away an awful lot of high tackles, so we clearly didn't react to that. But all those are things that we'll learn from. But you can't fault their effort. They kept showing up and they kept putting the body in the line of some really big players.
I suppose it's confidence. Obviously, if you'd be able to hold the next set out, then obviously if you do give a penalty away, as long as you're all sort of fired up and making the tackles, then obviously it's you can absorb, can't you?
Yeah, definitely. As long as you know how to ensure that that's only 6 tackles. It's only 1 minute's work. If you then give another penalty away on 5th, then that's 2 minutes work, 12 tackles. Eventually, they're going to break you. You're not going to keep it. You're not going to limit a team to 20 meters for 12, 18, 24 tackles. It's impossible. I think Sky Steve-O had the old penalty try kind of saying, and it's true. Certainly when it's on your own line. So as long as we're smart enough to turn that into 1 penalty and not 3, 4, 5, then yeah, we'll do okay.
Yeah, obviously attacking wise, in good field position and in structured attack, we showed the week of good ball and good players who can make things happen.
Yeah, don't know where to start with that one. We've talked quite a lot about our structure and our ability to score points, and I think, if I sum it up, then I think you look at the try we scored to win it, and then you look at the set when they kicked off to us, and Louise gets a bit of a sniff on the right edge, and all of a sudden she's like Harlem Globetrotter style. She's it nearly killed me. She's throwing the ball out wide to Steph, who's then playing through hands to Lauren, who then nearly gets put in touch. But they saw a chance and they had to go at finishing it, even though 2 minutes left on the clock and we're trying to manage it out. You could argue that that's not kind of gameplay intelligence, but at the same time, how many times have you heard me say we want to spot weaknesses and we want to execute them, and we want to punish teams when they show us those weaknesses? So you can't fault them for it. I think we've got the ability to play with our heads up, and at the same time we're when we're playing structured, we're creating chances, and you look, we scored sides and then through the middle. So I think we're showing that actually we're not just kind of a one-trick pony, I suppose, and that's no bad thing.
Yeah, sign of a good side that could score and then score again, because that's what happens if you can obviously double up and score 2 tries on the spin. Opposition's heads go down, don't they?
You're absolutely right, and I think we've given our pack plenty of credit. So we can make meters on sides, especially when we run in twos. We win collisions, and then Taz sniffing around at 9 gives us a. If you leave markers on the floor or your A defenders are too wide, then she's going to punish you. And that very often puts us in the position to go and score points again. So long may that continue, really. It's a really demoralising thing as a defending team to have happen to you, because you concede points, you regroup, you kick off. You'll no doubt talk about kicking the ball deep, about pinning us in our half. But then if we can then march upfield against you and then look dangerous again, then it's a really hard thing to recover from in a game, to be honest.
Yeah, you were trailing with 2 minutes to go, and then obviously a team move sent Vicky Kinney over for the winning try. It's all about scoring under pressure, and that's what we did.
Yeah, no, absolutely delighted for a couple of reasons. So if you look at how that try came about, then we played to a left edge, we recycled the ball. I think we ended up hitting Kaylee, who played it quickly. I did say I needed to watch it back. and then we played to a right edge, and we hadn't set to the right position. We weren't particularly in structure, but Demi pings a fantastic long ball to Lobby, who then hits Vicky on a drop, knowing that the defence is going to be scrambling. And then from 10 or 15 minutes out, a player like Vicky's going to take some stopping. She runs the way she kind of approaches rugby league. She's really passionate. She's fantastic to have her in the group. She works really hard. And so for her to get over, I think if you've seen the pictures of, I think Lauren kisses her. I think Lobby's trying to climb all over her back. It's absolutely fantastic, and the players were delighted, and we were delighted, not only for the win but also for ultimately the player that scored it. All delighted for her, really.
Yeah, another positive was Alex Simpson made a debut, scored a try. Great things coming from her.
Yeah, we're really lucky that as coaches we really want. We're all amateurs, so we've spoken for a long time that we want to create an environment that we all love being a part of. And I think it kind of the proof of that, I suppose, is the number of players that we've got reaching out to us to join. We've got a waiting list at the minute of players that want to come into the environment and try themselves, and every player in that squad has trialled to pull that shirt on, whether it was the initial trials that were announced just after the grand final, or whether it was someone that we've invited in for trial. Demi came in through that route, for example. And Alex trial with us. It's supposed to be a 4-week trial, but she kind of impressed us enough that we brought her in after 3. She started at left centre. Unfortunately, Liv has got some stuff going on, Olivia Meyer. So Liv kind of, as much as she's with us and she was there on the sideline with us, she can't currently pull a shirt on. So we're supporting Liv through that, but at the same time we've got to name the strongest 13 we can. So yeah, we were delighted Alex accepted the invitation to come into the squad that she'd kind of earned. And we moved really quickly on it. To be fair, we only offered her on Wednesday, and then she's starting on Sunday, and she showed up really well. So we'd watched her play for GB Teachers, and we kind of knew what she was about, and she was just a handful on that left edge. So she ran really hard, and that's how her try came about. She hit a good line off Lucy. Lucy couldn't not give it to her. She just punched a hole out on her centre's outside shoulder in between centre and wing, and then there was just no way she was being stopped. So yeah, she showed up really well, and she defended well as well. So yeah, what I'm hopeful is a really good addition to the squad.
Yeah, opportunity clubs gives opportunity, Chris, and that's what's happening there. Sad news is one of your coaches, Chris English, has departed. Is that a blow?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So Chris was great for us, and I did say we're all volunteers. We all have jobs away from this. We all have families away from this. Chris has got a young family, and ultimately the commitment just proved a little bit too much. I'm sure he won't mind me saying that his son plays rugby league in Wigan, and it was tugging on his heartstrings. One of the reasons was he's tugging on his heartstrings that he's kind of having to leave his son at training to shoot over to us, and there comes a point where all of us have to put our families first. It's part of, I have a young family, part of being a family man, isn't it? And that's kind of when Chris said to us that he was going to go, I did my best to talk him out of it, really. And I'll level with you. He called me Thursday to tell me, and I said, well, let's talk Sunday. And I was determined that he wasn't going. But when he said, look, it's just the right decision for me, and I just absolutely know it is, and I just needed to trust me with it. And there's kind of no choice for us there. So he was well respected by the girls. Told him he's always welcome back here. If things kind of settle down and he finds himself with a bit more time and he wants to get back involved, the door's always open for him. And he was, I think the biggest contribution he made to us was really helping us form the environment. So forever kind of available for players to talk to if they had some kind of stuff going on in their own personal lives. Forever supporting players. Forever, even bringing players to training when he needed to, when they were struggling for a lift. I can't thank him enough, really, for his contribution. And I'm sad to see him go, but we wish him all the best. And yeah, he's any success we have this season, he'll certainly get some credit for, and deservedly so.
Are we in the market to see if we can replace him, or are we going to go as we are?
Right now, we're going to go as we are. So it falls quite I've never had 3 assistant coaches before. I think if you speak to most amateur coaches, there's not used to working with 3 assistants, certainly not at the calibre we have. So I think at the minute, me, Matt and Dawn have got it covered. But much like playing situation, we review that as it goes. it only takes one of us to get a different job or something to change at home, and all of a sudden that situation changes, the same as it would with a player, whether that's, like I said, different job, or whether that's, a child, anything. This situation is really fluid. So right now, will that be the case next week? Who knows?
Yeah. Final question from me. Got Dewsbury Moor at home next game. Chris, opportunity possibly for a double header?
You'd have to ask the club. So I think obviously I'm all about the women's setup, and I think those double headers are a fantastic opportunity to really showcase what we're about. And when we talk about, should we need to attract another coach? Should we need to attract other players? Should we need to continue the kind of the noise that the team have created so far and the good feeling amongst the fans? Then I think they're a fantastic opportunity for us to do that. And as far as I'm concerned, the more of those we can be involved in, the better. So if that's on the cards, then well, I'd be delighted. But if it is on the cards, it's not something I know right now, as we're gearing up ready to play at Roosters or Caddy's.
Brilliant, Chris. Thanks for joining us. Chris Bates talking to me after the game at Parkin. And last week we talked about sort of games that they've not really been tested in yet, but he was sort of happy that this one they have been tested and they passed with flying colours.
Yeah, I mean, when you can say that about them not being tested, that's not their fault, is it?
No.
Much better than somebody else. That's the way it works. But it was a real test, and we've said it in the other games that when the real work starts in the league, them games we played first, the friendly against Swinton, and then into that cup competition, will build us up, and it'll take it will get tougher, but we'll be able to rely on these games we've played and the confidence that we've got going into games that we're on a winning run. Once you're winning, it seems that that's just what's going to happen. And when you're losing every week, you go into games possibly with a negative mindset. At the moment, our girls probably think they can't be beat. That's what's getting through it, as well as that quality and hard work. And he's spot on it. We probably needed a test, the real test, to see just how good we are. And I think we've proved now that we are good. And we are going places.
Yeah, we talked about gameplay intelligence, and he said in the last minute where we were talking about keeping up the jumper. Steph Gray saw something, and they were playing Highland Globetrotter stuff at one point, and he had his heart in his mouth. He was telling him to stop the ball. But like we saw before, it was it's they play what they see, and if they see it, they'll play it.
Yeah, it's confidence as well to play that and to know that your teammates are going to play with you. You're not just going to start throwing the ball about, nobody's going to be there. They're aware that they follow each other. And that's the thing about them. We've said it a few times, as a team, they're brilliant.
Yeah.
Really are. It is a team. I said it, I think it was after the Featherstone game away, and we absolutely thumped them. But it was the team that did it. Yeah. We have individuals who score 5 or 6 tries in a game. But the work that goes on before that, they all know the job. They all know where they're supposed to be. Such a professional sort of setup, it really is, and I think it's bearing fruit. And we've got the season off to a great start. Who knows? By the end of the year, there will be more tough tests to come. And at some point, we will taste defeat. I'm sure. Nobody goes through a season like unbeaten, especially not a sport like rugby league. It's so tough. But fingers crossed, we can go from here.
Yeah, I think obviously we watched the Featherstone game, and the forwards got a roll on, didn't they? Warrington Lunars were a different kettle of fish in the pack. They came at us and we came at them, and it was a real tough battle in that centre field. And I think obviously when you see it, you think to yourselves, when you watch that Featherstone game, you think, what happens if they come at us? And they did, Warrington. So the pack stood up, made meters, defended well, and I think it was like a giant tick in Chris Bates' box there. Yeah,
like I said, new players coming into the team as well.
Yeah.
They did. They haven't had these 5 or 6 games before, and yes, when you do bring in players of quality, that you kind of get that anyway. But overall, it seems like they played for years. That's like they played together for years, and it's that knowledge of their position, of where they're supposed to be and what they're supposed to do. so impressive. Maybe it's me in my own mindset thinking we've set up a women's team. It's new. It's it's going to be a bit this, a bit that. A bit amateur maybe. It's far from. Absolutely far from. It's real quality stuff. And these girls are just the way they've mixed and bedded in so quickly and look like that solid team. I honestly believe in it. We can bring in new players as well and start breeding a next generation of it. Following on from this blueprint, we could be a real benchmark club, I think.
Yeah. Talking about blueprints, we're trying to organise a chat with the Salford and Swinton girls / ladies training programme. So hopefully we'll get that organised so we can see how they can sort of blend into this, and they might be the feeder sort of organisation into this and grow the girls team and squad.
Yeah, well, we need it now, don't we? This is the key, and when your team's winning, it's easy to get people involved.
Yeah.
Like you're getting beat every week, you ask your mates to come to the match. No, they're going to get beat, aren't they? Girls will get involved. They'll love what they're seeing. And I've always thought Salford have had a high percentage of female supporters. And as well, they don't just turn up to look at men's thighs these days.
Thighs turn up to look at men's thighs.
About the game, and we've got all the way through my Salford supporting life. I've known Salford's known for having strong female presence. Say that, and the girls that go to the rugby, they all know everything, know the ins and outs of rugby league. It's not and I think now we can start thinking of succession planning already.
Yeah.
A lot of girls that I grew up with now are at an age of having kids or girls who are in primary school or even going to high school. They're the ones now. Let's get them gripped and get them playing, not just watching. Let's get them playing. And the Salford and Swinton girls thing is a really good starting point for them. And like you say, could be our little squad builder, if you like, for first team.
Yeah. So that's a look back at both games, and next we'll look at all the big news come out of the club this week. So let's look at all the news coming out of the club this week. Paul, will start with some good news. The Miles, Holt and Dallop in the reserves have been promoted to the first team to face St Helens. He's in the squad. We saw him at Warrington. I think it was the Lee Mossop testimonial. I've seen him in a couple of games since then. He looks the part for me.
Yeah, he's a big lad, big athletic lad, and that's what you've got to be these days, haven't you? In Super League, there's so many big players and big units, as we call them, and he looked a good lad in that game against Warrington. Those youngsters did themselves proud that night, didn't they, in the Lee Mossop testimonial? So it's great to see him getting his chance. I mean, if you think back to last weekend, St Helens played Castleford, and I think they played quite a lot of youngsters in that game, didn't they? All right, they got beat, but I think it's great to see young players coming through, isn't it, and getting that chance in the first team. Whether he'll get a chance or not, he's in the squad. So Amir Burroughs in the squad as well. I'd like to see him get a goal. So we'll have to see how that goes this week. But yeah, congratulations for making that squad. And if he does finally get his debut, that's it just shows that pathway is there, isn't it, for youngsters to come through. So excited to see the starting 17 this week. But fingers crossed for him. Yeah,
Opportunity Club gives opportunity. He's a centre. He's 23. He's played for Halifax before. He's played for Wakefield before. So he's got experience at sort of quite high level. So you're hoping, obviously, if Paul Rowley decides to give him a game, then obviously it'll be a big green light for sort of Danny Barton and the rest of the the coaching staff on the reserves. That obviously if you can produce talent like him to come through and getting a first team squad spot, then there'll be plenty more to come, hopefully, in the next sort of years and months to come. Other news, the women, after their great win last week against the Warrington ladies side, now have a Nines Festival to play. They're playing at Victoria Park, Warrington, like the same place where they beat Warrington last week. It's a fast festival of rugby league. I think all the Super League sides, I think it's 8 sort of guested teams. We're one of the guests that they've invited in, so it's going to be a good day Sunday.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it's another chance for the ladies to sort of test themselves against Super League opposition. And you know what, they could go there and steal the show, couldn't they? Because there's some big sides, isn't there, in the Super League? You got Saints and Leeds and Castleford, these sides that are challenging. I know you had the Challenge Cup semi-finals, didn't you? Some big scores in that. So there's a bit of a gulf, isn't there, I think, in that Super League between the top and the bottom. But, our ladies have got nothing to lose there. They've started well, they're confident, and they're winning matches, aren't they? And that can take you a long way. We've said that loads of times, haven't we, about the men's team. Once you get in a roll and you start winning becomes a habit. So they could go there, and, at nines is a different competition altogether, isn't it? It's a different sort of game. And, very fast-paced. But I think they could go there and be a bit of a surprise package. So I bet they're looking forward to that. It should be very, very exciting.
Yeah, they play Alton Radettes at 1:30. Then they play Casper Tigers at 2:45. And then they play Huddersfield Giants at 3:35. Obviously, I think one qualifies for the finals sort of day, which is being held at the AJ Bell Stadium in a few weeks' time. So you're hoping that we'll be that one. I know that Casper Tigers were in, I think it's the second Super League division, and they were asking to sort of be dropped down in. Sorry, they're in the first division and be dropped down to second division. So that tells me that they might be struggling. So if they're Alton, I think, in our division. So if we can beat Alton and then we can beat Cass, and then it's Huddersfield who were the runners up in the Shield competition last season, so there'll be a big test for our ladies. But yeah, it's going to be a great day, and hopefully Salford will have a few fans down there to support them.
Yeah, let's hope so, and let's hope we can get through, because it'd be great to play in the finals if it's at the AJ Bell Stadium, won't it? So that'd be nice for them to be at home. So yeah, good luck this weekend. I hope it's a success.
Yeah. Other news: reserves are playing at the AJ Bell training pitch on Saturday. They face Castleford Tigers at 2:30. Paul, Danny Barton's men looking to post a win there. They've had a tough few games early on in this season. Home advantage against Castleford. Hopefully they can get a win there.
Yeah, and I think you're going to get a bit of nice weather this weekend as well. And the first team are playing Friday night, so if you've got nothing on Saturday, they could get a few down there. I mean, they got a good crowd a few weeks ago, didn't they, down there? There's an awful lot of people there under the lights at the AJ Bell on the training pitch, so that should be a great atmosphere. And yeah, I know they've had it tough. They've had a tough few weeks, but they're starting to galvanise together now. They've played a few games together, and I'm pretty sure those lads playing in the reserves will be looking, at the youngster who's gone into the first team there, young Dylan. So you'll see him there and think, blimey, if he can get in there, if I can impress, I could be in that first team as well. So it's giving you that goal to aim for. So that should be an exciting day, that on Saturday, for the reserves.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting. The Physical Disability Rugby League team took part in a festival at Victoria Park, Warrington last week. Paul, very excited about that. We spoke to Heather Robinson about it. It was a good afternoon by all accounts. We played well, played some good rugby, and it's, like I say, rugby league is an inclusive sport. Everyone should get involved, and it's fantastic now that we've got a team to allow people who are physically disabled to play.
Yeah, I don't know who said it. I think it might have been you who said it. Rugby league was the winner at weekend, wasn't it? Despite Salford's men's team losing, it was great to see all the sides playing, on the same weekend, on the same day. And it just shows you how far the club has come. Look, the men's side did tremendously well at Wigan, and ladies obviously got an excellent result, and the other teams as well, learning the team. I think it's great. I think it's great that everybody's getting involved now and all playing under the Salford Red Devils banner. We are becoming, and not becoming, I think we are a community club now, aren't we? That everybody's involved in it. Everyone's pushing in the right direction, and it's great to see. It's really great to see. So it'd be great to get more days like that, festivals of rugby league, and hopefully one day get all the teams playing on the same day in Salford at the AJ Bell Stadium. I'm sure people can make that happen. So exciting times for the club at the moment.
Yeah, if you want to get involved with the Physical Disability Rugby League team, they train at Eccles College on Tuesday at 7 till 8. You can contact Craig Fisher at craig.fisher@srdfoundation.co.uk, or you can ring him on 0161631 5252 if you want to get involved in that. Obviously, it's another string to our Salford Devils bow, which is fantastic. Other news as well. Last week we just missed it really with a podcast that Ken Seal and Tim Laffey have been picked in the squad for the All-Stars game against England. It's on the 18th of June. Paul, Tim Laffey is currently injured with a broken hand, so hopefully he'll be fit and raring to go for that game, because it's good that we've got a couple of players in that showpiece game, and it'll build our profile as well as theirs.
Yeah, definitely. I think both the players deserve it. I mean, Ken Seal leading try scorer in the Super League, and Salford aren't top of the table, and yet Ken Seal scoring tries for fun. Can you imagine if Ken was playing for maybe a St Helens or a Wigan with international quality players around him all over? I'm not saying for 1 minute, disrespect to the Salford players, but he's in a struggling side who's not playing tremendously well, but scoring every week and taking his chances. So, Ken's one of the best wingers in the league. I think you could probably ask all 11 of the Super League coaches, and they take Ken in their side, definitely. So, he fully deserves that. And Tim Laffey, I think he's been a real signing for us, real class player. He's very, very strong on defence. He's looked very solid, a very, very solid sort of player. Reminds me a bit of a Willie Talau sort of player, and very tough. And yeah, he's done the business for us so far this season. And disappointed he's broke his hand, because he was doing really well. But yet again, we've been really hampered by injuries this season, haven't we? It's been really, really unlucky, the amount of injuries that we're picking up. But hopefully he'll be back to playing that game, because it's great when you get players representing Salford in these sort of games.
Obviously, you're hoping that England take it kind of serious, because obviously with the World Cup coming up, they need a tough opposition to get them battle hard and ready for the World Cup.
Oh yeah, of course they do. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they'll be taking this very, very seriously, Robert. It's the World Cup's. It's not going to be that long away, is it? Now we're approaching May, aren't we? And the summer usually flies by, doesn't it? And the World Cup's upon us, and they don't get many games to prepare, really, do you? You've got really tough games in the World Cup coming thick and fast, and this is a massive chances World Cup this year for us to really do well. So the players, I know there's certain pockets of players who play together every week at the clubs, at the domestic clubs, but you want to work on those partnerships, don't you? Wing centre partnerships, half-back partnerships, and things like that. Get your processes right, your set moves, and your cohesion in place for when you do play in the World Cup. So the more games you can play, the better. So I don't know whether they're going to play more than that, whether they're going to get a friendly in as well before the World Cup. I'm not sure, but this game is very, very important to me. And don't forget, it's also more like a trial to play in that World Cup. You're on trial, really. I mean, your England coach is going to be watching you, and you don't play well in that game, it could open the door for somebody else. So pressure's on, really.
Yeah. Other news: our development academy beat Huddersfield Giants 40 points to 8 this afternoon. Danny Barton's lads putting the Giants through the sword there, through the mincer.
No, it's always nice to beat Huddersfield, isn't it? So after they beat us earlier in the season. So yeah, all credit to Danny Barton. I think Danny's done a terrific job. He's been involved now for a good few years now with the youth development at Salford, and that pathway, as I mentioned before, to first team. I know it's not, all the building blocks aren't in place yet, but he's doing a terrific job, and let's just hope it keeps going like that, because we do need that. With the more young people we've got playing the sport in Salford, the better. So excellent result today, and as I said, always nice to beat the Giants.
Yeah, if you're in year 11 now and you want to get involved in that, contact Danny.Barton at salfordcc.ac.uk, and he can sort of organise that for you. But it's great. Obviously, we've got all these pathways that sort of go into sort of the reserves and the first team. It's going to be fantastic, really, if you can obviously continue this process, and 3 and 5 years down the line, we could be producing talent.
I think it's what you need, Robert. I think if you want to play in Super League and compete in Super League, is what you need, and it's going to what you need going forward in the future. Now, if we're to stay in the Super League and be a sort of top 6 side, you need all these building blocks in place. So if you've not got them, you're always going to be a yo-yo club, aren't you? Struggling, and we don't want to be that. You've got to get the foundations right, and if it means a few years where you're consolidating and getting things together, a bit like we are now. I mean, you can take that because you've got to look at the bigger picture. It's about the future. It's not about having a flash in the pan, having one good season, throwing loads of money at it. That's not the way to do it. Teams have tried that in the past, haven't they? Coming, getting promoted and chucking loads of money, bringing loads of sort of make-weight players, and it doesn't work. You've got to do it the right way. And I think you look at the likes of St. Helens and Wigan and Leeds, maybe Warrington as well, but you take those top three, Saints, Wigan and Leeds, the amount of trophies that they've won, in the last 40, 50, 60 years. But the amount of players that come through there, young players. I mean, Salford has been littered with Wigan and St. Helens players over the last, in the 30-odd years I've watched Salford. The amount of players we've had from that hotbed of rugby league is outstanding. So, yeah, if you can produce your own players, you're doing something special there. And it's those other clubs, it's like a conveyor belt, isn't it? So hopefully that's what we're going to get in the future if we can keep producing and keep getting the kids to play.
Yeah. Well, what's your news, Paul? I've got your news here.
A massive thank you to our friend Mark Hay. He sent some. He's got some coasters for me, you and Parky. Yeah, 4 coasters. I think it's Colin Dixon, David Watkins, Stevie Nash, and who's the other one? Who's the other one? There's another one as well. Eric Prescott, not Eric Prescott. There's 4 anyway. There's 4 in the back. I can't remember. I've had a long day at work. But yeah, Mark's kindly treated us as a nice present from him to 4 lovely coasters of Salford legends. So I shall give them to you on Friday when I see you both. But thanks to Mark for treating us. I know Mark listens to the podcast every week religiously over in Australia. He's a massive supporter of it. He's a lovely fella as well. It was great. We met him a couple of years ago when he came over, didn't we? Had a nice bite to eat with him, and hopefully we'll see him again soon and get to meet up again because he's a smashing fella.
Yeah, what a nice bloke. I remember we went out for meet him in town. I think we had something to eat.
We had a nice meal, didn't we?
It was a good night.
Yeah, it was. We had a nice meal and a few beers, and it was the grand final season. That one, little did we know what we had in store later on in the season. So yeah, smashing that. Thanks very much, Matt, for thinking of us. Yeah.
Final bit of news. It's kind of sad news, really. One of our Salford favourites has had to retire. Chris Brining played for us 2017, 2018. Paul. It was just kind of like we just sort of started interviewing players, and he was like a real sort of godsend for us. He was always wanted to speak, always willing to speak to us, and was good both on and off the microphone.
I think Chris Brining is possibly the first player I ever interviewed. There was him and Dan Murray that came, because I remember we got our press passes for the 2017 season. We started doing reports and that in 16, but when we did the £1 Million game, we weren't doing interviews then, was we? But yeah, that season, I remember Chris Brining coming through the door at Salford. I'm sure it's either him or Dan Murray. I might be Chris. And I got his name wrong. I called him Chris Brining, and they reminded me. But what a lovely fellow. He was a really nice guy. I think he qualified as like a teacher because he was doing that. He's a clever lad, but so down to earth. And then it took him time to sort of settle in at Salford. But I remember my dad saying to me when he got into the first team, we could be looking at an international hooker here. He's absolutely special. There's something about it. And then he got hampered by injuries, and it was such a shame because I think Chris would have played for England. I really do. I think he was that talented. He was super talented, but the injuries that he had with his neck and things like that, it's such a tender sort of part of your body, isn't it? You know, that neck there, and if it's not right, you've got to think about the bigger picture of you. You've got your whole life in front of you. If you injure that and end up in a wheelchair or God forbid, worse than that, there's more to life than rugby league, I think, isn't there, sometimes? So it's such a shame for him because he was such a special player. And I hope we get to see him and get him on the show and just wish him all the best for the future and whatever he decides to do.
Yeah, 25 games, 5 tries, but that doesn't tell the full story for me.
No,
Paulie, he was dynamic around the ruck, strong, and with gameplay intelligence, he had it all for me. And like I say, it's just a shame sort of what's happened. He played for York City Knights before and afterwards, after us. Bit of a stalwart down there. He was their youngest ever player to make his debut through the scholarship. So it shows how good a talent he was that York were willing to throw him in that early.
That's right, yeah. He's a good Scarborough lad as well. I think he's originally from sort of Scarborough, wasn't he, at that neck of the woods? And yeah, he's very, very highly thought of at York. And York are a good club, aren't they? They're doing good things at the moment. And it'd be great to see them get into Super League. I know they're doing well in the Championship at the moment. But yeah, I think we talk about hookers at Salford. I think over the last 5 years, he's one of the best. I know we had Joey Lussett there, but I think Chris Bryning was in the same bracket as Joey Lussett. I think he was a top player, and yeah, just hampered by injuries. And you know, at the time, we had some good players in that position. We had Logan Tompkins there as well. That he was working really hard, and it just seems a while ago now that we had Chris. He left, and he was injured for a while, and I remember kept seeing him outside the change rooms when we were doing the interviews, and we kept asking him, didn't we, when he was going to be coming back, and he wasn't sure, and he had to do this and have a few more tests and bits and bobs, and then in the end he had to move on, didn't he? But it was such a shame because, you know, it's awful when players have to retire early when they've got so much potential and they never quite get to fulfil it, do they? But as I said before, your health is the most important thing.
Yeah, so good luck, Chris, in the future, and if you fancy coming on and have a chat, you know where we are. So that's all the news this week, and now we'll look at what's going on in the world of rugby league with Paul Whiteside.
Here is this week's Devil in Detail amateur report and life outside the Super League as well. And we also have a look around the world of rugby league. We're going to have to change the title of this. I think Rob calls it Paul's Look at the World of Rugby League. We might have to get something like that. But here we go. We'll start off with the National Conference Leagues. Rochdale Mayfield in the Premier Division, another good win. They beat Thornhill Trojans by 44 points to 6. In Division 1, Saddleworth Rangers were beaten at West Bowling 28 points to 16. There was 2 fixtures in Division 3 as well. Drillington nil, Waterhead Warriors 34 and Eastmoor Dragons 6, Oldham St Anne's 42. So 2 good wins there in Division 3. Oldham St Anne's are up to second top in the table. Waterhead Warriors are currently 4th. In the fixtures for this week, Saturday the 30th of April in the Premier Division, Lee Minor Rangers play Rochdale Mayfield. In Division 1, Saddleworth Rangers are at home to Hull Dockers, and in Division 3, Drillington face Oldham St Anne's, and Seaton Rangers face Waterhead Warriors. Moving on to the North West Men's League on Saturday the 23rd of April, Division 1, Bury Broncos 30, Askham 24, Wigan St Cuthbert's 6, Folly Lane 4. In Division 2, Cadishead Rhinos 10, West Bank Bears 6, Roos Pioneers 12, Walney Central 40, that's not a local size. Salford City Roosters 26, West Horton Lions 16. In Division 3, Rochdale Mayfield A34, Crossfields A22. In Division 4, South and East, Clockface Miners A42, Langworthy Reds 24, Higginshaw 32, Oldham St Anne's A6. The fixtures for this week, it's cup action this week. On Saturday the 30th, it's in the Trophy, it's West Horton Lions against Crossfield A. Cadishead Rhinos are at home to Rochdale Mayfield A. In the Shield, it's Wigan Springview A versus Langworthy Reds. Goulburn Parkside face Tameside Knights. Oldham St Anne's A at home to Newton Storm, and Wigan St Jude's A face Higginshaw. And Student Rugby League, College Rugby League it is, on Wednesday the 27th of April in the Premier Division, Huddersfield Giants face Salford Red Devils, and in the North West 1 last Wednesday, Cowley Sixth Form beat Salford Red Devils A by 28 points to 18. Turning our attention to Youth Rugby League now in the North West Youth Division 1 of the Under-18s. I need to get some glasses. Division 1 of the Under-18s, it was West Bank Bears 14, Salford City Roosters 22. In the Under-16s, Division 2, Salford City Roosters 14, Shevington Sharks 34. The fixtures for this week, Under-18s Premier Division, Ince Rosebridge are playing Saddleworth Rangers, Thatchell Heath Crusaders are at home to Waterhead Warriors. Division 1 of the Under-18s, Salford City Roosters face Askham. In the Under-16s, Division 1, Crossfields are at home to Folly Lane, Lee East face West Horton Lions, Rochdale Mayfield are at home to Hindley, South Trafford Raiders face Thatchell Heath Crusaders. In Division 2, Coolcheth Eagles are at home to Salford City Roosters, Shevington Sharks are at home to Saddleworth Rangers, and Waterhead Warriors will face the Halton Farnworth Hornets. Well, we'll take a long move now across to Australia and have a look at the NRL. It was round 7. The West Tigers, who couldn't buy a win a few weeks ago, they were bottom of the table. They'd lost, I think, 5 from 5, but they've now gone 2 wins on the spin. Another excellent win. Tigers winning with a 1-point thriller yet again. 23 points to 22 they beat South Sydney Rabbitohs this week. They had a massive start on the Coupon as well again, but Jackson Hastings seems to have made a real difference coming back into that team. But the field goal this week came from Luke Brooks in the 80th minute. Hastings did kick 3 goals from 4 attempts, and a great win for West Tigers, 23 points to 22. The rest of the scores: North Queensland Cowboys 30, Gold Coast Titans 4, the Newcastle Knights 2, Parramatta Eels 39, Penrith Panthers, they keep going. They beat Canberra Raiders by 36 points to 6. Last Monday, Parramatta were beaten at home, as we said last week, to Parramatta Eels 21-20. The other results from this weekend just gone: Cronulla 34, Manly Seagulls 22, Brisbane Broncos 34, Canterbury Bulldogs 14. The fixtures for this week: there were a couple of games played on Monday, but I'm recording this on Monday, so it was St George Illawarra Dragons against Sydney Roosters Monday. You probably know these results by now. Melbourne faced New Zealand Warriors. The fixtures for the rest of the week: Thursday, it's Brisbane Broncos against Cronulla Sharks. Friday, Gold Coast Titans face Penrith Panthers. South Sydney Rabbitohs are at home to Manly Seagulls. On Saturday, there's 3 fixtures: New Zealand Warriors against Canberra Raiders, Canterbury Bulldogs against Sydney Roosters, and Parramatta Eels at home to North Queensland Cowboys. And there's 3 fixtures on Sunday, the 1st of May. Newcastle Knights are at home to Melbourne Storm. St George Illawarra Dragons are at home to West Tigers, and Melbourne Storm face New Zealand Warriors. They're playing them twice, so there's something wrong there with the fixtures. I've got Newcastle Knights against Melbourne Storm twice there, both the other way around, so I have to check that out and clarify that for you. But Newcastle do play Melbourne, but I'm not quite sure where it is. The table at the moment: Penrith Panthers at the top, they've played 7-1-7. Parramatta Eels are in second place with 5 wins from 7 matches, and Melbourne Storm have got 5 wins from 6 matches. Well, finally this week we'll head back over to the UK and have a look at what was going on in the Championship. It was round 9 of the Championship of the weekend just gone. Dewsbury Rams 19, Workington Town 18. Halifax Panthers 40, Barrow Raiders 18. Leigh Centurions beat London Broncos by 64 points to 0. Christian Inu scored a hat-trick there, and he kicked 9 goals from 10 attempts. Ed Chamberlain scored the other goal for Leigh Centurions, so some ex-Salford players there coming up with the points. Sheffield Eagles 34, Newcastle Thunder 20. Another good win for the Eagles. Widnes Vikings were beaten at home to Batley Bulldogs in a surprise result. They were beaten 38 points to 10 at home there, so a big win for Batley. York City Knights 30, Whitehaven 12. And there was one game played, I think it was last Sunday. Whitehaven beat Workington in Cumbria Derby by 22 points to 14. In Betfred League 1, round 5, Keighley Cougars beat Swinton Lions by 30 points to 0. That's 2 defeats on the spin for Swinton. London Scholars 22, Rochdale Hornets 56. North Wales Crusaders continue their good run. They beat Midlands Hurricanes by 22 points to 18, and Oldham beat Cornwall 48-22. The West Wales and Doncaster match was cancelled. West Wales unable to provide medical cover, so a 48-0 win was awarded to Doncaster. So the fixtures for this week: on Monday night, you probably know this already, as I say, I'm recording this on Monday, Bradford Bulls were in action against Featherstone Rovers. On Friday night, Leigh Centurions faced Sheffield in the Championship. That's 8 o'clock kick-off. On Saturday, Newcastle Thunder at home to Halifax Panthers at 3 o'clock. On Sunday, the 1st of May in the Championship, Featherstone Rovers at home to Widnes, London Broncos Dewsbury, Whitehaven Bradford, Workington Town against Batley Bulldogs. And in Betfred League 1 on Sunday, it's Cornwall against Rochdale Hornets, Doncaster against Oldham, Keighley against London Scholars, North Wales Crusaders at home to West Wales Raiders, and Midlands Hurricanes face Hunslet. There's one fixture on Monday the 2nd of May, and it's Barrow Raiders against York City Knights. That's a Premier Sports television game at 7:15. That's all I've got for you this week. It's been a marathon, that report this week. Take care, have a good week, and I'll see you at St Helens on Friday night.